Hello, and today we'll continue with Violet Memoir. Mom, you're never gonna believe this. So Quinn took me out to this cute little cafe nearby, and then we met him. This absolute hunk. I'm pretty sure his biceps are bigger than my head. His name is Conrad, and he plays on the football team. He's a linebacker. I don't know what that means, but he's built like a truck. Quinn told me that Conrad's single and doesn't even go out with the girls doesn't even go out with the guys to the bars. He said he doesn't like hooking up with random girls, such as gentlemen. His mom is a movie star. You remember Diane Hughes? She plays Melanie in Lady Fox's Silks. I got the total jackpot. It's sad, isn't it? Lily's intruding voice is enough to startle me, but she places a reassuring hand on my shoulder, instilling a feeling of calmness and familiarity. It reminds me of when my mother would give me a hug whenever she accidentally bumped me with her tail. She stopped doing that after Marcus. Can you step back? Your smell is very distracting. That catches both of our attention, and we look over towards the rest of our group, all of which are standing around our computer. Well, grouping them together isn't quite right. Lee is standing off to the side, a glower across his face as he stares towards Oscar, who is almost towering over Lucas, who is seated in front of the computer. For his part, Lucas didn't look upset, his attention never leaving the screen despite his scrunched up nose. I guess the clothing smell is worse for him. Having a sensitive nose isn't the gift that I used to think it would be. Also stands up straighter, putting more distance between himself and the fox. Not a huge distance, but Lucas does look less tense. Thankfully, he doesn't look offended. Not that I think he's capable of being so. While there's an entire computer lab in the library, there's still individual computers scattered amongst the bookshelves alongside a moderately large table, likely for those who want to work with a group or with privacy. Lucas wanted somewhere more private, but I think we would have had to use this place anyway, unless we wanted to awkwardly cram around a tiny little booth. The main area has rows of computers for everyone to use. There's just a small booth for each one, leaving the work area very small. Very cute. Lily's voice is so quiet, I don't think I would have heard it if this area of the library had more students. Which one? Lucas, obviously. I don't think you can call the other two cute. Despite how quiet she's talking, the distance between us, I catch Lucas's ear twitching, the insides flush a darker pink. I don't know, I think Lee and Oscar are great too. Of course they're great, but Oscar's hot, at least handsome, not cute. I don't think Lee would like you calling him cute. With Oscar no longer invading Lucas's personal space, Lee's now leaning forward to see the screen, occasionally muttering something. They're speaking in such a low volume that there's no chance for me to understand what they're discussing. I hope they're able to find something more about each of the victims. Lily's words cause my eyes to linger on the three attractive guys in front of me, and it takes effort to force myself to look away. My mouth feels dry, and I hope it's not from gaping, so I wasn't drooling over them. Let's get back to the diary. My voice squeaks out at such a high tone that all the boys look over towards us for a moment before returning their focus back on the computer screen. That's the final straw that causes Lily to crack, cover her mouth to muffle her laughter. The others don't manage to pick up her giggles, or they don't react if they do. I'm sure Lucas is trying his hardest to just ignore us. I think my head would explode if they stared at me again. You read the next one. I'm gonna enjoy the eye candy a little bit, a little bit longer. Or like you, I don't think I'm gonna have a chance. I don't know how to respond to that, so I just ignore her and get back to reading. There's a surprising amount of whipped pages throughout the book. Is this something she consistently did herself? When did she whip them out? Was it when she made a mistake and wanted to redo it? But there's many paragraphs that have been crossed out too. Did they have something in them she wanted to forget? Most of the entries are filled with typical average daily life. The sinking feeling I feel when I first read starts to return, forming a pit on my stomach. The juxtaposition between how happy she sounds and is compared to what she's done is just disturbing and a little sad. Wait. This one mentions Conrad again. Mom, Conrad finally texted me again. I was kind of worried he was gonna flake, but he got back to me. He wants to take me on a date. Quinn is trying to get me to wear all this expensive stuff, and it's like, calm down. I can't afford this. She's still making me wear these super cute earrings, little pink stars and a moon. It's so adorable. I want to scream. Mercy says she's gonna tag along and make sure I'm okay. She wouldn't listen to me when I told her it's fine and Conrad's a good guy. He could whip me a drink, even though we're going to a restaurant, not a bar, but you know how Macy is. We'll be okay. We'll be going on Thursday, which is 2 days from now. I'm really excited. That's cute. Well, I remember going on my first date. We went to the movies and he tried sliding his hand up my skirt. Turning my attention towards Lily, I'm unable to stop myself from gawking at her. Her only response is a laugh and a pat on my shoulder. It's okay. Well, it's not okay, but that's boys for you. Before I can stop myself, my gaze slips towards the three guys looming over the computer. Lily doesn't miss that regardless of how fast I bring my focus back to her. You'll be fine. They're not the types of guys to do that. Lee and Lucas aren't the type of guys to do that. I'm pretty sure it's part of the deal when you go out with someone like Oscar. Part of the deal? Well, yeah, he's a jock. He clearly wants to get in bed with you. I'm pretty sure he'd wear you down one of these hours if you ask. Okay, let's switch topics. That causes her to burst out laughing, loud enough to catch the attention of the boys. They look towards us with a curious expression on their faces, except for Lucas, who looks away with a flush across his face. I don't know if his ears are just insanely sensitive or if he's trying to tune out Oscar and Lee, but listening to us, I have a feeling it's the latter. Fine, we'll switch. What about you? How was your first date? I force my ears against my head to hide the obvious flushing that's about to happen. I pray it doesn't peek through my fur on my cheeks. There's a large amount of poof there, but they don't hide the prominent red color. I've never been on a date before. I never even met anyone gay before coming here. You'll be getting a new experience. That's great. I think any of these guys will certainly be something interesting. Don't be afraid to sleep with them on the first date. They're very yummy, and I know I would. A choking sound comes out of my throat, and I must sound like a flustered teenager. I'm 18, but I'm an adult now. I'm not sleeping with one of them on the first date. And then at that, I can't tell if it's condescending or just her trying to comfort me. She places her hand on my back and whirls a circle. It whirls in a circle like you do with a child to calm them down. I hate that it works. You're so cute. I remember when I was a size virgin. I think once you get a taste, especially if it's awesome, you burst out of your cell. I know it. I'm reading the next entry now. I lift the book towards my face with such fervor that I almost smacked my nose. I'd happily take that trade, anything to get me out of this conversation. I managed to avoid it with my mother, but somehow this feels even worse. But I'm surprised to see another whipped page where the next entry should be. There's been a couple so far, but it's always so jarring to come across. It gives the book an almost morbid aesthetic and fitting aura considering its history, I suppose. Moving to the next page, there's an entry that's already started. It looks like it's about to date with Conrad, but the entire first page is missing, starting us right in the middle of the entry. That was a little strange, but he's a really nice guy. If he didn't look like he could carry me in one arm, I would have never guessed he was a football player. I don't know what he did to make Mercy so against him. He was so sweet, especially to her when they met. She definitely knows something, but she isn't telling me this is really weird. I thought we told each other everything. Why is she keeping things from me? Whatever it is, I'm sure it's nothing. Conrad's a good guy, and if he does anything weird, I can drop him on his ass. Can't wait for him to call me back. Looking between this entry and the one before the whip, I can't help but feel like there's a massive gap of information. Just what caused these pages to get whipped out. Did she do this before? I thought it might be entries she wanted to rewrite, but she only whipped half of this one out. Did she want to forget it? What happened to elicit such a reaction? But from the description here, it didn't seem like the date went bad. An idea pops into my head, and I look up towards the rest of our group. Lucas isn't even looking at the screen and is arguing with Oscar instead. I can't make out what they're talking about, but Lucas clearly isn't happy. Well, arguing isn't the correct term. It looks more like he's scolding or lecturing him, while the author just smiles at him, unfazed by the stern glower on the fox's face. Lee is looking utterly exhausted. He did bring this upon himself, I suppose. I just asked Lucas if he could look up something interesting regarding the incident and also follow him. Also, Lucas alone is probably a bad idea, so I can't follow him for tagging along and make sure things don't turn into a nuclear war zone. I'll have to thank him later. Lucas, can I get you to look something up for me? The speed that Lucas rustles out his seat and comes over to our table is so sudden that I have to stop myself from jumping. Looks like he wanted to get out of that situation as fast as possible. The others don't take too long to join us too, though neither of them sit down like Lucas, who has taken one of the 3 seats across from Lily and me. Yeah, what do you need? There's a strange shade to his voice, as if just talking is exhausting to him. He doesn't look upset. If anything, he looks more comfortable now. It's more like all this interaction is draining him of his energy. Do you think you guys can look up more about Helena's friends? When I looked things up before, I got only the basics. The nodding he gives in return to skitters. It might be best to just look up only a bit more before leaving. I think he's reaching his limit soon enough. He deserves a break. Lucas isn't the only one affected by the looks of it, as Arthur also seems just as restless. His irreverent but coy, now it looks like he's actively trying to force conversation. Likely, all this work and no play isn't fitting for someone like him. I can talk to the guys on the football team. Most of them don't go to the gym. I do, but a few guys there know them. We can't do that right now. Lee's voice is firm but not unkind, like a parent telling one of their children. It's just a small jog. I think that you guys wouldn't even notice I'm gone before I'm back. I'll be there and back in a flash. It's hard to not notice when you're here when you're as loud as a fire alarm. So obnoxious and insistent. Like usual, Oscar doesn't look offended by Lucas's comment. It's hard to tell if Oscar just doesn't understand he's insulted him or just chooses to ignore it. Maybe he just thinks it's cute. Actually, I think that's exactly it. He looks towards me and gives a wink. It's lacking any form of subtlety, making his intentions with the thoughts as clear as day. The sigh that Lee releases in response says more than any words he could mutter. Plus, I might sew up without a shirt. I always prefer working out shirtless when I can. Don't wear a lot when swimming, you get. It will probably cause too much of a distraction. Lucas makes a struggling whimper and looks over towards me with a panicked expression, but there's a hint of something else in there. I think the blood sewing through his fur is a sign that there is parts of him that don't entirely disapprove. Also grabs the hem of his tank top and begins to pull it up before he's stopped by a short voice, the tone cutting through the air. Oscar. His mouth only grows, but he concedes and lets go of his shirt. He offers a shrug towards me like he doesn't understand what Lee's going on about, but I don't think anyone is buying his. But I don't think anyone is buying his innocence. That breaks the tension between the group, and I can feel myself relaxing again. It looks like everyone else here has as well. Also works in strange but effective ways. Lily decides to speak first, and I'm thankful for that. I've never been good in social situations, so it's good to have someone to help with them. I think it'll be best if we talk to them another day. I think looking up more about them is a great idea, but just make sure you're being respectful and don't pry too deep, okay? I'll be fine. Lucas gets up and walks a couple of steps back to the computer before he stops and turns towards Oscar. His whiskers are twitching, and it looks like his whole body is twitching. He looks nervous. Do you think you can help me? I'm not very familiar with sports. It's never been something I've been interested in. Too brutal. I prefer books to legally beating up other people. He crosses his arms and looks to be digging his claws into his sleeve. His ears are pressing down hard against his head, and he's looking everywhere except towards us. But what catches my eye the most is the way his tail just loses all life and hangs limp behind him. I think he's embarrassed with himself, maybe even angry. Also isn't having any of that, and he slides right up next to the fox. I'm expecting him to press up against him like he does to me, but he only gives him a smile and a light pat on the back. The touch is respectful, and that's something more shocking than I thought anyone expected. I don't think anyone's more surprised than the fox, though. His entire body pricked up as soon as the otter got close, but now he just looks surprised. There's no words as they walk towards the computer and sit down. Lee looks towards me and something crosses his face that I can't explain. It seems sorrowful, but also proud. Everything okay? It slips out of my mouth before I can stop it, but Lee seems to have expected it and not shaking off that gloomy aura. I think I can even see the tiniest twist of a smile, but he turns away before I can get a good look. He looks actually happy with something that also did, no less. There's an embarrassment to him that I'm not used to seeing. I wonder if it's for being proud of something that also did, or because I caught him doing it. Fine, good actually. I hope he stays like that for your sake, for my sake. But he doesn't give me any response. Instead, he just walks towards the other two, who are already bickering about something. He just slides back into his slot against the wall, letting them continue as they please while quietly observing them. But there's a warmth to their argument. It's not friendship, but there's less of a distance between all of them. All of us, because I'm a part of them too. We're all together in this, as classmates, as friends. If Elena had friends like this too, then why did she end up the way she did? What happened exactly? It just doesn't look like something she'd do under normal circumstances. But then again, people are capable of awful things, terrible, cruel things that can completely destroy someone's life. Even a single mistake can completely ruin everything. The next couple of entries are short and simple, just quick updates about her life, just the regular, ordinary days of a college freshman with absolutely nothing spectacular mixed in. Stopping with Mercy, they have a weekly tradition of getting iced coffee and drifting between stores. Funnily enough, Mercy doesn't actually like coffee, so her choices tend to be super flavored. Going to the bar with Quinn, if it's a good night, then Quinn ends up heading off with some guy, and Conrad takes her home. From the sounds of it, they go out as a trio often, even as a group of four if Mercy tags along. Things with Conrad are going slow and steady. The occasional date and text, but nothing more. He hasn't even made any moves on her. They're taking their time with things, though it does sound like he's being a gentleman. But then I come across an entry that catches my immediate attention. Happy birthday, Mom. I just got off the phone with you, and I just had to write right now. I'm sorry I couldn't get you a present, but I wouldn't even know how to ship them to you on time. But I'll get you something when I come visit home. It's strange not being home for your birthday. We can't go out to get our nails done today. I think that's a first in like 10 years. Mercer and I are going out later to get them done. I'll make sure to send you a photo of them. I know you will send one back. You better not get one. You better not get those neon green nails again, though. They're so ugly. I know things have been hard lately, but I want to let you know that I love you more than anyone else. There's no way I'll ever let someone hurt you. I'll call you again later, I promise. It'll always be just you and I against the world, no matter what. Just keep being strong for the both of us. There's a poignant silence between Lily and me, the weight of that entry hanging between us. I know she's reading it along with me. The only noises piercing the somber atmosphere is the quiet bickering between Oscar and Lucas. It's comforting reading it with her. It's not like the other night. It doesn't feel like it's suffocating me. Nothing particularly bad has happened in the diary so far. In fact, the tone has been pretty upbeat, but that just makes the sickly feeling in my stomach worse. Like she can sense my thoughts, she reaches a hand over and takes my own. There's no spark, it's completely platonic, and somehow that's everything because that means I have a friend. Someone who sees me as only a friend and likes me for me. Thanks. There's no problem. We got to be there for each other. We're almost in an adult world now, and everyone isn't going to look out for us anymore, so it's up to us to help each other out. The feeling of her clouds through my fur brings back the memory of a summer vacation long ago. My mother's claws scratching the back of my ear as Marcus bandages up the gaze of the graze on my knee. He hugged me, and they never let go until I stopped crying. Pulling my hand away, Lily sits up straight and gives me a smile as I close the book, content for one day that the deep violet of the cover is forever burned into my brain by this point. All done? The real question screams out louder than the one said. It says, "Are you okay?" That is the question, isn't it? The whole diary is weighing down on me. Stopping would be the best choice. Yeah, I'm fine. I think it's a good place to stop. We learned a little bit. Let's hope the boys found something better. I think back to the last entry in the diary. Something about that last entry felt a little strange to read. I feel like there's definitely something up with it. She had a good relationship with her mom, but I feel like there's something wrong. It's probably her dad. That catches me off guard. I did consider that possibility, but I didn't think she'd be so brass about it. What makes you think that? I don't know if he's dead or if they're divorced, but it looks like he's not involved in their life much anymore. It's probably why they are so close. She does seem really close with her mom. I love my mom, but we're not that close. Not since I was younger. What about you? Lily's face twists into an expression I can't describe before she just shakes her head. She opens her mouth to answer, but closes it instead. She looks towards the guys crowding around the computer, and I follow her gaze. It looks like the atmosphere here is even affecting them. They're less open talking, only the occasional mutter from Oscar into Lucas's ears that makes the fox's ears perk up. There's even a distance in their accents. While Lucas is still using the computer, Lee and Oscar are both on their phones. Things are. Her phone cuts her off, blaring loudly. After checking the caller ID, she's standing up and headed off towards one of the aisles. I'll be back. I gotta take this phone call. Make sure things stay peaceful. I don't want to see Lucas clawing someone's eyes out, okay? I don't think I can stop any fight from breaking out if something happens, but there's only one response I can give her. It's not like I can just tell her no. I'll try my best. She flashes me a smile before dancing down the closest aisle of books, her phone pressing against her head. Her loud voice echoes towards us for a few moments longer before disappearing deeper into the library. Looking towards the rest of our group, they're all staring in the direction Lily disappeared down before Lee looks back to me with his eyebrow raised. She just got a call. That seems to satisfy them because they go back to looking at their screens, still completely disconnected from each other. We did the previous entry over again. I can't shake this feeling of melancholy, this little message that her mother has. What did her mother feel when she found out her daughter would kill her friends? What about when she killed herself? Did she get 2 calls or just one? I wonder if they were the worst calls of her life. A light pattering sound distracts me, and I notice little stains on the page. I'm crying. It's not a lot, but my eyes are watering. Did my chest always feel this heavy? Maybe doing this alone is a bad idea. Maybe. Without any warning, I'm suddenly being pulled against something firm. There isn't even time for me to react before being lifted off of my seat and enveloped in a heated cocoon. Feeling better? Austin, what are you doing? I can't stop myself from looking around the room in a panic frenzy. When I finally see Lee and Lucas's gazes focusing on us, I can't stop the shaking feeling in my stomach. Lucas's eyes are wide and his ears are standing erect. Whatever Austin did, it's clear that he didn't expect it. Lee is shaking his head, and I think I can make out a sigh, but surprisingly, he doesn't look upset. In fact, he's smiling. Cheer up. You're sitting on the best seat in the house. What does that mean, unless? Looking down, I understand why everyone's reacting the way they are. Austin's now sitting in my chair with me sitting on one of his knees instead of somewhere more unsavory. Most of my players. Why? Despite sitting on his lap, I can still look straight up and see Austin's face in its entirety. He's wearing his typical smile, but the rest of his expression surprises me. It's not the cocky expression I had been expecting, or even one filled with over-optimistic cheer, but instead it's concern that's covering his face. Papa Bear over there told me to come cheer you up, said he saw you crying. His beautiful blue eyes are an ocean of worry, and there's a snap of pain in my chest at the thought that everyone might be worried about me. But most of all, surprise is flooding through my head. Lee told you to come? Of course. What's so strange about that? I will say, back home, I'm known for my big smiles. I just didn't think he'd. Looking towards Lee, he's still watching us, though he looks to be trying to hide it. He's not doing a very successful job because even Lucas is looking at him with concern, like he's expecting a bomb to explode. You don't think he'd choose someone like me? That's not what I meant. That fists out a laugh that rumbles through his chest. The feeling vibrates through me, and it's relaxing. Despite the embarrassment, the sitting arrangement is extremely comfortable. He said I'd be the best choice to cheer you up, and if I take any of my clothes off, that he'd break my arm. There's a beat of silence between us, but Austin's smiling face is unfaltering. I don't think he means it. Despite the wetness lingering around my eyes, a light A laugh pushes out of my throat. It's hoarse, but it makes Oscar's smile grow all the same. Thanks. I think I needed that. Of course you did. Everyone needs some Oscar in them. Were you always just saying this and I'm just noticing? Or are you going even harder? He smiles at my phrasing and waggles his eyebrows towards me. Whatever the answer is, it's clear that Oscar is no longer trying to hide his flirting, if he ever had been. Too much. I can turn it back. Flirting is fun, but I don't want to make you uncomfortable, man. Maybe a little. Sitting on your lap like this is a bit demeaning. And just like that, he lifts me up with little effort and plops me down on the chair without missing a beat. He takes the seat next to me. There's a part of me that misses the warmth, but more so, I feel more comfortable. I'm not used to being, I'm not used to so much physical affection, and as much as I enjoy the attention, it's a bit too overwhelming. Did it help get your mind off whatever was bothering you? You look real messed up. There's an also I remember from the first day, the handsome stranger who saw someone in distress and decided to help. He got a weird way of doing it, and he often hides behind flirting, but it wouldn't help him. But it wouldn't help him without it. The diary just got me thinking about my mom. We're a bit close, but this is making me think we should try to be closer. The smile never leaves his face, and the usual Oscar fashion, but his eyes widen in surprise. It's only a small amount, but anything other than his usual smug smile, his usual smug, happy aura stands out with immense prominence. Are you close with yours? With anyone else, I'd be worried this might be a bad thing to ask, but with Oscar, I feel like I can tell him anything and he'll be okay with it. Everything about him is always screaming, ask me anyway. He proves my assumption correct as only his eyebrow raises, giving his face a curious tint like the fact that I ask is more amusing than the question itself. I'm not sure which part caught his attention, but it seems to have interested him. We're not super close. We're family. I love Ma and Pa, but we don't talk often. We call every couple of weeks. Don't look so down about it, bro. It's just how we are. I feel closer to the swim team than I do my folks. I know it's not my family or my life, but something about that just makes me very sad. I don't even notice my ears are drooping until Austin starts to ruffle my hair fur, causing me to squirm and giggle. You're a strange dude, Wallace. Huh? People don't really ask me things. Well, they don't normally ask about me. They typically just ask me to do things. To them mostly. What about Selwyn? You guys look like good friends. He chuckles at that, and it's filled with fondness, a warmth that only comes with familiarity. Like he's thinking about someone he cares about more than just a simple friend. They must be a lot closer than I thought. Memories of Marcus suddenly come flooding back, and I have to force myself to push them away. I can't think of that right now. It's in the past, and I gotta focus on the now, right? Selwyn's great, but he doesn't talk a lot. We don't talk about our feelings often. Brings the mood down. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. With a motion so fluid and sharp that it has to be practiced, he wraps around the back of my chest and pulls me forward, forcing me to slouch forward. In the next moment, Oscar's leaning forward, and our faces are only inches apart. His eyes are half lidded, and his smile is more of a smirk. I know he'll play innocent if I point it out, but the sensuality of his expression causes blood to rush to my face. My breath hitches and comes out with a slender. His eyes glow and simmer like the ocean we just passed by this morning. It's a shame that we don't have better lighting in the library. I bet those eyes would sparkle in the sun. I'm cheering you up, so don't feel sorry, okay, man? Right, okay. I'm trying to think about anything else to say, but I can't stop myself from being hyper aware of just how close his face is to mine. A glimmer catches my eye, and I can see Oscar's blue teardrop necklace swaying back and forth under his chin. The light bounces off it like a mirror. It looks very beautiful. I know it's a touchy subject, so I won't ask why he wears it. Not yet, at least. But I am still curious about it. He's such an open book in most aspects that strange he's keeping this single thing must a mystery. It must be something really impactful to him. It's really beautiful. Me and a necklace. That catches me off guard, and I can't help but let out a little laugh. He joins in, and the distance between us doesn't have as much tension anymore, both good and bad. Back up, you two. Lee's voice has an out of character tone of amusement flooding through his voice, and when I look over towards him, it's clear that neither Lucas or Lee are focused on their work at all. At least Lee is trying to look nonchalant. Lucas is just staring right at us, looking mesmerized like he's watching fireworks. Regardless, Oscar takes a hit and leans back, but he keeps himself crouched together. He keeps himself crouched closer to my height. Despite his best attempts, he's still having to look down at me. He's holding a teardrop now, and the gentle grasp he has is like a tiny glimpse into the softer side of Oscar. I know it is there because I've experienced it. That little side that other people don't give much of a chance. I meant it. It really is breathtaking. He scowls at that, but I can see his smile widening further. Even though it grows, it somehow feels sadder than just moments ago, like he's lost in a bittersweet memory. It's not enough to ruin the mood, but it is noticeable compared to his usual demeanor. Pretty sure that it's just glass. Another specimen. It's not just the design that makes it beautiful, but it's very clear it makes a lot to you. That means a lot to you, and that's what makes it stand out. Oh boy. It's really beautiful. Me on a necklace. That catches me off guard, and I can't help but let out a little laugh. He joins in, and the distance between us doesn't have as much tension anymore, both good or bad. Back it up, you two. Lee's voice has an out of character tone of amusement flooding through his voice. When I look over towards him, it's clear that neither Lucas or Lee are focusing on their work at all. At least Lee is trying to look nonchalant. Lucas is just staring right at us, looking mesmerized like he's watching fireworks. Regardless, Oscar takes a hit and leans back, but he keeps himself crouched closer to my height. Despite his best attempts, he's still having to look down at me. He's holding his teardrop now, and the gentle grasp he has is like a tiny glimpse into the softer side of Oscar. I know it's there because I've experienced it. That little side that other people don't give much of a chance. I meant it is breathtaking. He scoffs at that, but I can see his smile widening further. Even though it grows, it somehow feels sadder than just moments ago, like he's lost in a bittersweet memory. It's not enough to ruin the mood, but it is noticeable compared to his usual demeanor. Pretty sure that it's just glass, nothing special, man. It's not just the design that makes it beautiful, but it's very clear. It means a lot to you, and that's what makes it stand out. He considers that, and as his eyes look away from the necklace and towards me, I can feel them scanning over my body as if searching for something. I don't have to wonder what he's trying to find for long. Do you have anything you carry on you? My mind instantly remembers a few words on the screen, a single message I still haven't deleted, despite the way it makes my phone weigh so much more. Nothing like that. I never really had an accessory. I think you look really cute with an earring. For the first time since I met Oscar, his flirting feels out of place, like he's forcing himself to do it, like he's trying to distract me so I don't notice something or so I don't pry any further. Oscar, are you okay? Ever since yesterday, you've been acting strange. You don't have to act like nothing's wrong all the time. Things get hard for everyone at some point. Oscar looked towards the others for a moment, both of which are looking towards their devices in an attempt to act like they're not listening before looking back at me with a tired look on his face. Listen, Wallace, man, I don't really like thinking about negative stuff like that. I'd just rather not think about it at all, get it? But you shouldn't just push it all down and ignore it. That's just going to make things worse. But then he gives me a massive smile and gives a playful thumb to my shoulder. It's soft, so gentle that I'm surprised someone with Oscar's muscles can even be that restrained. I've never been an emotional kind of guy. I know that's a bit weird, but it's just always who I've been. No need to change that now, right? Something about that doesn't sit right. I can't agree with someone saying that would rather not feel things at all. That can't be healthy, but I can't just tell him how to live his life. He must have caught something in my expression too, because his face softens and he looks at me with an amount of confusion I've never seen on his face before. It's like I'm the one who's been abnormal and weird here. It's so strange, always trying to look out for me, so just enjoy the eye candy and have fun. That's what everyone else does. He gives a resounding sigh that sounds booming coming from his wide chest, and he gives me another smile. This one more fragile than all the others. It's more of a peek through the cracks of his smiling mask. Okay, you win. I'll tell you about this. He lifts up his blue teardrop necklace. Between our faces, I can see a distorted version of Oscar's lips through the glass. It makes his entire body look blue and wobbly, like he's made of water. But not today. It's not a fun topic, and I might need a few drinks first. I can't stop a smile from stretching across my face. And when he sees that, a gleam simmers in the oceans of his blue eyes, and that fragile smile settles to his wonderful full grin. Are you two done fighting now? Nicholas's unsure voice echoes throughout the room. The only noise following it is whisper from Lee before a look of understanding crosses the fox's face. Sorry, thought you two were fighting. Didn't know you were flirting. My bad. And then, as if that's the tipping point, Oscar falls back in his chair laughing while Lee tries to keep himself dignified by hiding his smile. That leaves clearing things up to me. Lucas, we weren't flirting. Wait, we weren't? We were just having a conversation. He cheered me up. And he did it not just by being himself, but he opened up to me, even if just a tiny bit. I don't know Oscar too well, but that feels very important. Speaking of having a conversation, think of going around to the football field tomorrow and see if I can catch one of the guys who knew Conrad before they have practice. You want to come with? It'll have a lot of hot guys. He flashes me a wink and I blurt out the first thing that pops into my head without thinking. I'm pretty sure you're more ripped than most of the guys on that team. I'm not sure why I said that and what response I expect out of Oscar, but the way he completely beams, I think it's pretty clear that he's very happy with what he's hearing. I definitely buried my own grave. I bet I'm harder than them too. Look at this. Also reaches down and grips the bottom of his shirt. He's about to lift it up when Lee interrupts without any hesitation. Oscar, not the time. Not only causes Oscar to roll his eyes and stand up, forcing me to look up to maintain eye contact. The perspective is making his chest look even larger, and I will bet my entire life savings he's doing this on purpose. You gotta come? What? To find the football bros, to find information on Badger Boy between all the hot eye candy. I think just finding the information is enough. The way Oscar's smile perks up at Lee's tone, I can't help but wonder just how well he knows how to push everyone's buttons. He seems to know how to get under Lee's skin, especially though I don't think the possum is particularly upset. Yes, sir. Not the staring at the boys part, but the gathering information part. Right, you need to stare up at guys when you got the hottest in front of you. He's about to walk away before he stops, and there's a moment where he glances at the diary, but only for a second before his attention is back on me. If what was in the diary bothered you, do something about it then. Less thinking and more doing. Give them a call. Thinking before acting as much as it's fun, and you always end up talking yourself out of doing anything. He gives me a wink before walking towards the other guys, his thick tail rubbing along my neck before the sensation disappears completely. It's hard to think at all with the feeling of his short, coarse fur grinding against the skin of my neck. But in a strange way, he looks happier than he did earlier today. I hope that even just the prospect of talking about things took away some weight from him. Regardless of everything, Oscar's relationship with the rest of the group has improved. He was always on good terms with Lily and myself, but now Lucas doesn't seem to mind him as much, and there's an almost playfulness to the way Lee and him bicker, even if he still means it. I don't think he'll ever truly approve of him, but it's a start. Looking down at my phone, I open my mother's number and stare at it for a few moments before I get up and walk down one of the aisles. I'm almost in the clear when I see Lee's eyes staring directly at me. There's a moment that I'm worried he's going to stop, but he just looks down towards his phone once more. Being a quiet type is definitely a blessing sometimes. It doesn't look like there's anyone in this section. Looking at the books, I think there's about Icelandic history. I suppose this is a popular section, but that's good for me. I just want to make a phone call. Bringing up my mother's number, there's a familiar sinking feeling in my stomach and I begin to feel dizzy, but push it away. I can't let that night stop me from calling my mother forever. It rings for almost 20 seconds before she picks up. She might be at work right now. Hopefully it isn't too busy. Hearing her voice through the phone brings a flood of emotions, a mixture of relief, warmth, and embarrassment. Hey baby, what's wrong? I haven't heard from you in a few days. Everything going alright? My mouth feels so dry all of a sudden, and forming words is a lot harder now. After taking a deep breath, I'm able to pull myself together. It's going good. I just thought I should give you a call. We haven't called in a while, and I was scared I might be worrying you. I hope I'm not causing you problems at work. Oh, baby, no. We're not busy right now, and I'll always make time for you. It helps that you're married to the boss. I'm able to hear her soft chuckle through the phone, and for some reason, that causes all the tension in my body to fall away and melts away like ice cream on a summer day, unable to handle that wonderful warmth. That certainly helps. I'm always worried about you. I just thought you'd be settling in, and I didn't want to stress you out. Mom, if you ever need to talk, you know both your father and I are always here. Despite myself, I can't stop myself from smiling and my eyes from getting misty. There's so much I want to say, but nothing comes out of my mouth. It's like my voice has been stripped away. I love you, baby. You mean the world to us. I love you too. I'm barely able to croak it out. The words are hoarse, and I can't stop the wobbling in my voice. I hope it doesn't worry them too much. So what's bothering you? Nothing's wrong. I just saw something, and it made me want to call you, to let you know that I love you. Aw, baby, you don't know how much that means to us. That includes your father too. There's that soft chuckle again, and I can't stop myself from joining her. It's more somber now, and I can feel a warm tear wetting my cheek fur. After Marcus, he stopped talking to us as much as we didn't want to push you, but we were scared we weren't doing enough. That causes my breath to hiss and makes my stomach run cold. Surely they can't think that I blame them for what happened. No. You two were perfect. I just needed time. I think I still need time. Of course, take as long as you need, but Don't be scared to call us if you need us, okay? I won't, I promise. That's my boy. Now, have you made any friends? Yeah, I have. Hanging up the phone is like a weight has been thrown off my chest, and I can finally breathe for the first time in years. It's an amazement that I'm not heaving. It's just a simple phone call, just a tiny chat between my mother and son. But it felt like so much more than that, like it had been the first time in a long time that we truly talked to each other. After all the hassle this story has given me, I can't help but feel a little grateful for finding this little thing. I'm not sure I would have had the I'm not sure I would have the strength to call it otherwise. I wouldn't call it a blessing, but I'm glad for it at this moment. It's strange just how relieved I'm feeling about the whole thing. It doesn't fix everything, but it does make me feel a lot better. But it felt like so much more than that, like it had been the first time in a long time that we truly talked to each other. After all the hassle this story has given me, I can't help but feel a little grateful for finding this little thing. I'm not sure I would have had the strength to call them otherwise. I wouldn't call it a blessing, but I'm glad for it at this moment. It's strange just how relieved I'm feeling about this whole thing. It doesn't fix everything, but it does make me feel a lot better about before. I'm about to head back towards the group when I notice something outside the window, something very concerning. It's Lily. Except she's not looking like herself. She's still talking on the phone, but she seems upset. She's covering the phone like she's trying to hide what she's saying, and the fur under her eyes look wet. I wouldn't say she's crying as much as her eyes are watering. There's a solemn aura around her, like this phone call is actually draining all her playful energy. It's so different from how she normally is that, for a moment, I think it might be someone else, but a Shiba Inu wearing a yellow cardigan is too recognizable. And just like that, she ends her call, wiping her red eyes with her free arm, and I can feel my chest tighten because there's someone there, a friend who needs my help. Bile rises up in my throat as the memory of that cold night on the beach floods through me. The salty smell of the beach makes me feel lightheaded. I have to steady myself on the bookshelf to stop myself from kneeling over and vomiting on the floor. When I look up, Lily's walking away along the side of the building. Her movements are stiff, and she still clutches her phone in her hand. She occasionally stops to take a deep breath, and clean herself up. It's a sad, lonely sight. No matter what it takes, I won't let someone who needs my help go through things alone. Not again, never again. With unsteady steps, my head spinning is a dizzying frenzy. I manage to get back to the others. By the time I arrive, I'm walking straight enough to hopefully not rouse any attention. Giving up any pretense of still working, the three of them are all sitting around the large desk. All of them look super relaxed, even if none of them are talking. If I wasn't so out of it, I think I'd be excited that everyone's getting along. Nick is trying to use his phone, while Oscar is leaning over the peak at his screen without any sense of saying. Lee is just leaning back on his chair, looking directly towards me with an expression so neutral it's generally unsettling. Lee quirks a questioning eyebrow, and I quickly respond with a wave that I hope comes off as nonchalant. I hope I don't look as ill as I feel. I'm not sure if he sees right through me and isn't saying anything, or if he didn't notice. I changed my mind. Being a quiet type isn't great at all. When I sit back in my previous chair, Ed and Lily's were thankfully left vacant. Being surrounded by everyone is comforting. Pushing the negative thoughts away, I close my eyes and embrace the lackadaisical atmosphere. The sound of footsteps causes my eyes to open, and when I see Lily, she's already looking better than she did outside, but there's still little specks of evidence sprinkled about. The fur under her eyes are still damp, but now they're more disheveled as Elsie tried to wipe them dry. Her slightly bloodshot eyes are only barely concealing any problems. When she's smiling, and while it has a sad undertone, it still feels genuine. Whatever the call had been about, she must be glad it's over and back with her friends. Her friends. Us. Me. She's looking for some comfort right now, even if we're not supposed to know that. Bringing up what just happened will only do more harm. She'll open up to us if she wants to. I don't want to push her even if I want to help. So I'll do what she needs right now. I give her a smile and a little wave, one that she returns with her own smile before coming to sit next to me. It's small, but being there for her is all I can do at the moment. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't keep you guys waiting. We weren't. Wallace disappeared for a bit too. She glances towards me with a curious glint in her eyes and a sly smile on her face. I don't want to know what's going through her head. By himself, unfortunately. All these choices and he chooses alone. I just called my mom. It wasn't anything weird. Austin and Lily give each other a look that I don't recognize. There's a sense of dread that rapidly fills up my chest. Of course you would, man. What else would a guy do when they sneak off alone? While I manage to stop my face from flushing at the initial comment, it's Lily's giggling that finally breaks my resolve, and I have to look away as my ears burn. I don't get it. Just ignore them, kid. They're being stupid. The fire and soda gas also gives a response that's too dramatic for even him, and he just shakes his head with a grin on his face. Yeah, can't pull that off. Sorry, though. Well, what kind of nickname is that? Okay, man, there's not a lot of places you can go with Lily. You don't sort in anyone else's name. I'm testing the waters. No need to settle down so fast. The eye roll that Lee gives in response is so incredibly childish that it causes my eyes to widen. When Lee smiles afterwards, I can't help but wonder if he's finally warming up to him. Oscar really brings out this different side of him. Their dynamic is certainly strange. They bring out the worst and best of each other at the same time. What about Wallace? I haven't really heard you call him anything that isn't dude or man. He's not a fan of nicknames. Not gonna just keep calling him something that upsets him, you know? You're very biased towards Wallace. The name you give him is very demeaning. Oh, you're cute when you're grumpy. It's why I call you that. In an act of supreme confidence of utter stupidity, Oscar reaches over and ruffles Lucas's hair fur between his ears. The fox is so stunned that he doesn't even react for a second before he growls at Oscar, but the growing blood peeking through his fur tells a different story. But if you want to stop, I will. Don't want to ruin anyone's day. The fox looks down at the table as he starts to fizzle with his ears, his face still visibly burning through his dark fur. If that wasn't enough, it's incredibly hard to not notice his tail thrashing behind him. It's really annoying, but my mom calls me grumpy too, so that's okay. You're encouraging him. The curling at the edge of Lee's mouth bellies his scolding tone, and when Lucas was confused at the comment, he only shakes his head instead of elaborating. It looks like Lee doesn't have the heart to tease him. Soon enough, Oscar's trying to hurt the fox to Lee's half-hearted efforts to stop a scrap from breaking out makes everything feel so warm and affectionate. The giggling next to me brings my attention back to Lily and the memory of what I just saw moments ago. Looking back at the group, it's clear they're preoccupied for now. I don't think prying is a good idea, but simply checking up on her should be fine, right? Hey, I'm worried my whisper might be too soft, with Lucas now yelling at Oscar about belonging in a strip club, and I wish I knew the context, but she turns towards me. Her previous blood-sod eyes are now returned back to their soft gold on white. No signs of crying outside of the stiff clumps of dry fur under her eyes. You wouldn't even be able to see it if you weren't looking for it. Hey there. I hope everyone behaved. Do you have to stop any fights from breaking out? I'm pretty sure Lee's the only one who stops the fights. Surprised when she shakes her head and points to me before leaning forwards to join me and whispering. It looks like whatever happened outside hasn't quelled her playful personality. I think Lee causes just as many fights. He's a bit of a prude. She gives a giggle that's filled with such a sweet tone that I can't help but smile back towards her. They get along a lot better than they make it seem. I think they're all growing on each other. They are? Better than that day in the library. Lucas isn't straight up insulting people anymore and Lee's talking a lot more now, or maybe you didn't notice because they're all so nice towards you. That causes me to sit up straighter in my chair, even sneak a glance towards the others. Thankfully, they're all still distracted with Lee trying to stop Oscar from making Lucas grope his biceps. Really? You're so oblivious, aren't you? Lucas is right. Oscar does have a bias towards you, but they all do. I don't think that I deserve that. I almost done completely out of my skin. When I feel a hand on my cheek, it's not an action I'm used to feeling. Even my mother will only scratch under my chin at most. I'm still not used to having such openly affectionate friends with both Oscar and Lily. I'm not sure my heart is going to last the rest of the semester. You're a sweet guy. If they see that, you don't need to be so harsh to yourself. Now I'm beginning to blush, just like Lucas across the table, who is now staring towards us with a raised eyebrow, but he swiftly turns his attention back to Lee, who's now scolding the two of them. Leaning back, the feeling of her fingers sliding off my cheek sends a shiver up my spine, which she notices and lets out a soft laugh that she tries to hide behind her hand. I need to change the subject. I'm getting distracted. Are you doing okay? You look a little upset when you came back. I don't want to pry. I'm just worried. Bracing myself for her smile to drop, I'm left flabbergasted when she smiles even brighter. It's filled with so much admiration that I can feel my cheeks burning so hot that I know my white fur isn't hiding anything. This is what I mean. You're so caring and kind. Yes, I'm doing good, great even. Hanging with friends always helps. I want to ask about the call. I want to ask so badly, but I know it's not my place. I have that dark need in my chest burning. I got to restrain myself just a little. Lily makes a choice for me when she calls out the group. So, how did our investigation go? Did you boys find anything interesting? Everyone stares at me first, and when I meekly look towards Lily, she gives me an encouraging nod. This isn't something I'm going to get used to anytime soon. I guess this is my punishment for being a loner for so long. That seems like more than enough for today. Despite only being here for an hour or two, I'm already feeling drained. The others look like they're handling this much better than I am. In fact, all of them look still raring to go, even Lee, though the scowl he's wearing on his face gives that energy a new meaning. I don't mean to be a downer, but we didn't exactly get much shit done. In the end, it doesn't sound like we learned anything of substance from our investigation today. Just some hunches and leads, but nothing to use in our report. Turns out most of these people were just that, normal people. There's a chuckle, and I already know it's Oscar before I even turn my head. He's leaning back on his chair, balancing himself on his large tail. I really hope this doesn't get out of hand. Alright, come on man, it's just the first week. There's no need to be so serious about it. We've only had one class, and the whole thing was just about figuring it out. They don't expect us to have it all done by the next week. Trust me, I'm a senior. Yeah. Lily bounces out of her chair with more enthusiasm than I think I've ever felt in my life. After returning from whatever that call was, she quickly returned back to her joyful self after only a couple minutes hanging with us. We got some information on the important people related to this event. We could talk about how the media portrayed them too. We're doing great, I think. The rest of the class has only just started. I got other classes to work on. You might be willing to dump all your time in a general education class, but some of us have actual real classes to worry about. Lucas sits up straighter with a huff, his crossed arms tightening as he tries to make himself look bigger than he is. His ears might make him look taller than me, but Lee still towers over both of us. And Oscar's just a giant. Even while he's sitting, it makes his attempt to appear on the same level as them rather childish. But his comment did drag the conversation to a halt. No one else looks like they're going to say anything after that. Maybe Lucas went a little too far there. He must be thinking the same thing too, because he begins to sink down in his chair while his ears pressed down against his head. I think I can hear him mutter an apology under his breath, but it's so soft. I don't think anyone caught that. But now's my perfect time to interject. Well, I think we're doing good. If we haven't gotten very far, I've enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I'm not very used to hanging out with friends before. I'm not sure if my imagination or the way that Lee softens at my words, but I swear I can physically hear the tension melt away in the group. It's like a waterfall is flushing away the atmosphere in its torrents. Right, sorry kid. I guess I was talking to Sid a bit too seriously. Right, sorry kid. I guess I was taking the Sid a bit too seriously. It's not a bad thing to care about your studies. Yeah, we're burning big bucks to come here. It's good that you're dedicated. Just lighten up sometimes. You gotta pop an eyeball. You gotta pop an eyeball. Specifically with all the glaring you do at me. That causes Lee to snort, and just like that, everyone's smiling again. I want to say it's emotional whiplash that feels right, exhausting but right. Are friendships always this exhausting, or maybe I'm overworking myself, or maybe I messed myself up a little too much with the diary? Actually, that makes more sense. If I'm this tired, I wonder how tired Lily must be. She lived a lot worse than I did. I hope she's not pushing herself for our sakes. Speaking of Lily, she picks up the diary and holds it up with an overdramatic flair. We already have a big advantage on this project. With this, we have an extra leg up on this assignment. So let's just have fun for now. Suddenly, a loud car horn screeches from the parking lot next to the library, the ugly noise piercing through the quiet building. Our table must be right next to it. The loud sound causes Lily to jump, dropping the diary on the floor in the process. She's not the only one startled as Lee immediately jumps to his feet. Oscar and Lucas are still sitting, both staring at the two standing members of our team. Oscar's raised brow and smile in stark contrast to Lucas's wide, frantic eyes that flickered over towards me intermittently. But there's something about the car horn that sounds off in a way that's awful and familiar, in a way that twists my gut to the point where I'm scared I'm going to lose my lunch. Before I can stop myself, I'm already on my feet and looking around the room. I must look like someone have a manic attack, especially a manic attack. Especially if this is like last time. I must have fallen asleep again. I don't want another nightmare. However, this time the others look just as confused by the reverberating sound, and I'm not sure if I should feel comforted at knowing it's not just me, or horrified that it's something they can hear too. What was that? Sounded weird as hell, baby. Also, was cut off by a sudden crackling sound, and before any of us can react, the ground beneath us shatters. And just like that, I'm falling into darkness without even a chance to glance at the others. This awful darkness, this familiar sensation or dread. Nothing good is ever found in the dark. I'll stop right here. Okay, so I struggles at the end there because there's this constant noise. It's like this cricket noise. It's been constantly making that noise for half an hour now, and it just doesn't stop. So it's kind of distracting to me. Even with these headphones on, I still can hear them, but that's why I kind of struggle there at the end. It's just very distracting. A lot of wildlife where I live, birds and dogs and insects, all that stuff. Anyway, so everybody's starting to get along more. Well, Lee and Oscar and and Lucas, all of them will get along or getting along more together. And there's certainly a lot of issues going on with Oscar. Beneath that smile and his flirty behavior, there's a lot of issues going on, and there are some things about his past or his family that he doesn't want to talk about. So, Wallace is just not beginning to get to the root of what's going on with Oscar by he's just beginning to talk to Oscar about it, and Oscar says that he kind of just likes to just look at the positives and not focus on the negatives, and he said that's the type of person he is. But after a little bit of thinking and hesitation, he decides to give in and talk to Wallace about his problems. So I think later on he'll do that. So there's also seems to be issues with Lily because he was crying on the phone, and as soon as she came back to the others, she had her smile on like she always does, but it seems like so far in the story you often see a smile, but behind that smile there's a person with issues. And that seems to be what I've been getting with that seems to be the theme of Oscar and now Lily. So that now cricket noise just went off again. It stopped. It might come back on. I mean, it might start. The crickets might start making that noise again. So while it's quiet now, I might be a little bit more specific. So anyway, Lee and Lucas are warming up to Oscar, slowly but surely. And Lucas, he has a habit of insulting people, and though he does seem to be apologetic every time he goes through the aftermath of him insulting people. He feels bad about it, and he looks at the people. They feel, well, I don't know. Well, also doesn't seem fazed by it. So anyway, he seems to really feel bad about insulting people, and I guess he has some minor anger issues. I mean, not like anger, like this full blown explode at people and just feisty and just get violent, but kind of like a little snappy. Because Oscar's he's been calling him grumpy, and And Lucas even says that even his parents call him Grumpy. So hopefully I'll do better with reading next time without all the distractions out here with the crickets and the birds and dogs and police and ambulance sirens and railroad crossing and all this. There's so many noise going on around this area. I haven't really been living in this area too long, maybe about 4 years. Because the last place I was at was a lot quieter than this. So I still haven't gotten fully used to being over in this new area I'm in now. Anyway, so this part ends with, I guess, Lily having another, Wallace having another episode while sleeping, I guess. I guess he was sleeping because the floor collapses and all that happens, and we end up in a which looked like some kind of hospital, I guess. But we'll just have to see what happens next time. So thank y'all very much for watching. Goodbye.